Greetings everyone, welcome to my sketchbook. Now this is something I do every once in a while. I go to, well, here in Canada we have these things called or I should say dollar stores in Canada called the Dollarama, and they sell these things. And yeah, I don't know, I think for fun, I'm going to open these up. So this claims to have 3 premium cards, which could be, you know, the hollows and the rares, and then there's this, which is a surprise pack of stuff, which could include the means by which to store your cards. And anyway, so yeah, it says theme packs and card protectors. I'm not really into Pokemon. I'm not a reseller or a scalper. What I do with these after, well, I open them, I get a look at the cards, and whichever one I think looks kind of neat, I'm going to draw it. I probably won't know what it is, and then from there, after I finish the drawing, the next step will be to do a little research, and maybe I'll do a follow-up video on whatever that thing is. So I'll probably save this one for last. So I'm going to open up this thing. I'm just going to see if I have a pair of scissors or something just to cut the corner. Yeah, just a little nip. Okay. So, let's see what's inside here. So, oh, that's weird. It's kind of sealed in there a little bit too. So, it comes with sealed packs. And it doesn't come with, well, this one doesn't come with any card protectors. Okay, so that's strange. So this is a premium pack, energies pack, just I guess 5 cards, and some sort of code to do something online. Anyway, so I'm going to open up that first and see what's going on with this. So I guess I kind of tore that one a little bit. I'm going to get this pair of scissors, see what's inside here, and set aside anything that has to do with like the online play. Caterpie, okay. Actually, let's set that just off there. Aggron, that's kind of interesting looking. Smeargle. Okay, so there's that. Try to keep a little bit of, we'll save the premium pack for last. Let's go with this one next. And let's see what we have in here. Okay. Oh, set that aside. And now, Kabchu, some sort of energy ball thing. Houndstone, which has a horrifying bite. Luxio, and looks like it evolves from, what does that say? Come on, focus. Shinix. So this is another stage, I guess. And there's a Magikarp, which has lively grouping. That's pretty exciting. Energies pack, 4 cards. Hope everyone had a wonderful Mother's Day and acknowledged how you got here on the planet. I think that's very important to do that. Now, we don't need this thing. Set that aside. And let's see what we have on the go here. So these are just like, well, energy, as they say. Yeah, super. And another one of these sort of watery looking things. All right, last card here is a 3 premium card pack. Only hollows and rares, it says. secretly, whenever I do this, I often end up looking at the so-called hollows. I don't even know if they're truly rare or not. Okay, that looks kind of cool. Zapdos. Okay, that's kind of neat. It says it's basic. Cubone, or Cubone, or I'm going to say it's a Cubone. Then there's Nimona as a trainer supporter. Okay, that's exciting. So now we get to go to this thing, which costs $2.50 at the Dollarama. Let's open this thing up. Hopefully not damage the cards on the inside. Okay. I think I just barely got to the part that, oh yeah. Okay, here we go. 3 cards, and first card. Some sort of chipmunk thing. Squovit. Basic. Next. Hydrapple. It's got like multiple heads, 5 heads. The Hydra breath is some sort of special move. Oh, I get it. So here it says it, see if I can zoom in on that. Evolves from Diplin. So it's almost like maybe like a worm in an apple or something like that, but it's like snakes with kind of freaky looking eyes. That's kind of interesting. And then we have Diglett, and it has a headbutt bounce and mud slap as some special features. Now, so that gets us through those pristine packs, and we'll put that in the garbage there. Okay, now we got to pick something out of this to draw and see if it's interesting. And put that there. Zapdos. Lairon. Okay. Does an angry slam. This one's kind of funny. I don't know why. It just kind of reminds me of Snoopy with, is that a tail that we have going on here? This just looks cool to me. I don't know why it says Pokemon Go, and I couldn't tell you what this is supposed to be. But it looks interesting. And then Hydrapple. I think I'm going to try to draw Hydrapple. Yeah. So it looks like it has 5 heads. It's kind of coming out of an apple, and kind of like snakes. And I don't know if in the background here, that's like the top part of the apple, like the stem. Yeah, I don't know anything about this thing. So, but it looks kind of interesting compared to this, which in some ways, maybe it reminds me of that little Pikachu thing just because it's yellow and it's got some electrical stuff going on with it or whatever. But I think that card's kind of neat. So, this is a stage 2 character that I'm going to see if I can draw something with. I think for this, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to bring out the acrylic paints, maybe, and kind of go from there. So we're about 10 minutes in. Let's set that kind of there for a moment. Open this up. And what I'm going to do is kind of grab a couple of colors here. And we're going to get to work. So I have like, these are metallic in some ways. Yeah, let's see what we can do. Sometimes when I draw apples, though, I like to do a yellow base to them and kind of go from there. So, but I have to think about the outside first. And this is kind of a almost sea foam like. I'll go with this first. So let's go with first snake like creature. So comment down below if you know what this thing is and its powers and stuff. I don't want this to go exactly the same as what's, on that card. What I'm doing is just kind of like trying to figure out a couple of things. I'm not going to have the main one in the center here going in an angry way. Next, let's zoom in on this just one level in maybe. I like to do kind of like a yellowy kind of base because just bright red right from the get-go seems strange to me. Unless they're just considered to be worms that evolve into snakes. I guess with the apple kind of evolved too, like, they're dragging that around with them. Maybe that's like its power source. That's where it's getting some of its power. Now, they seem to have yellowish eyes, so I'm just going to add that in like somehow. We'll get back to that. Next, red. I'm just going to add in a little bit of red at the top here first. Go to the bottom and we'll make this as delicious of an apple as we can get, which is a type of apple. Delicious apples. Now, I'm sure some of you have heard the legends of a Hydra, and that if you, you know what? Maybe. Anyway, let me finish that little bit there first. So if you're thinking of like, you know, mythical creatures, the Hydra would have multiple heads. It might look like a dragon, but if you remove one of the heads, so let's say you're thinking of the Iliad, like Percy Jackson kind of stuff. Although that's not anyway. So anyway, yeah, if you remove one of the heads of the Hydra, well then expect another or more to grow back. So they're pretty difficult to defeat. But the idea that popped into my head, sadly, is Marvel related. You know, like the bad guys in Captain America's world is Hydra. Let's see here. Let's stem. Just going to automatically put a little brown stem on it. An unnecessarily, you know, little green leaf thing. So maybe this is like in the middle of its evolution from, what is this thing here? Anyway, so maybe it's just in the midst of becoming Hydrapple. I don't know. Now, because we did all this sort of strange, just kind of blurry nonsense, I'm going to open up the inkwell here beside me, get out my trusty workhorse pen, and from here, I'm going to add detail, and then I can maybe get back in and do some other stuff. So, yeah, let's see what we can do here. Now, I don't know what sort of enemy or trainer typically looks after this creature. Like if it's, you know, while I have the red, let's trick out a tongue or two. And I don't know if this is, well, let me get a look here before I go on. I don't see it being a forked tongue where it splits. Okay. So I'm just going to put in a little pointy tongue. Some of this cartooniness won't be so bad. I don't know if they like spit poison. So this is the first time I've seen this particular Pokemon. As I said in the beginning, it's not really my thing. I like the artwork. I'm trying to familiarize myself enough with it, which is why I just grab a pack of these and see what happens. Something I did here seems a little bit off. I may have to hide some of that. Let's go right in there. Okay. This is kind of a fun thing to do. I mean, it's like an exercise to introduce yourself to something that you don't know. Try to figure something out with it. I don't know if this was the correct choice. It's okay. In my sketchbook, I'm happy to just try to figure stuff out. Um, whatever I did with that is unnecessary because I just kind of roughed in a couple of things, and that eye would not be that way. I don't like how dark I did those eyes up there. Let's go on to this one here. Semblance of, I don't know, snake detail normalcy. Now on the card itself, it does look like it's perhaps spitting something. I don't know if it has like a poison or some sort of energy bolts or something like that, or sleepy gas, which it might utilize in a battle. Try to speed this on along a little bit more. When I was a kid, these card games didn't really exist. I was already uh, pretty much out of school whenever this kind of stuff was on its way, and so Magic was kind of around as well, and I wasn't really that much into that either. Again, I really liked the artwork. I knew people that had super rare cards at the time, and of course, when they kind of got out of the game, they got rid of them. And now that first issue stuff is worth a lot of money. And that's kind of the thing, isn't it? When I mean, you don't really know what the future is going to hold and what the values of things will be, so you're just like, oh well, might as well get rid of it. Kind of like I'm sure there were a bunch of kids when when they owned the Superman comic, the very first one. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of them read it a bunch of times and thought this was so cool. They folded it up and stuck it, in their back pocket and ran around the house, and they didn't know that their grandkids were gonna want to have that stuff. I mean, it's you can buy a couple of houses. I don't particularly like what's going on here with these. I kind of changed it a little bit as I was going, a little less dark around the eyes than that one. When I make my second attempt with this, I'm going to have to think of something a little bit differently anyway. I think this one's a little more straightforward than some of the ones that I've done in the past where I couldn't tell if something's a rabbit or a dog or honestly, I don't know if these are snakes or if they're worms. As I said, I kind of have an idea now, maybe a little bit more of something from the Marvel universe, which I will try possibly after I try to find out a little bit more about what this thing is and its powers. I think this is more along the lines of something that Team Rocket might have. I'm trying to imagine that the shadows that this thing would cast would not necessarily just be directly on them. Depending on what you think the light source is, if it's coming from directly above. Yeah, to me, this is kind of like maybe modeled after that bookworm thing. I don't know if you want to refer to that as a motif. I hope that's not too silly. I don't know if I really like some of the cartoony aspects of it. Um, yeah, you know what? I don't want to do the cup and water thing that I often will do, where I bring out a brush and then okay. Now, just a little bit on the bottom side of the tongue, maybe. Well, I think that's kind of it. We'll call this like the first look. You know, I wonder when they come up with the names of these things or the concepts of these things, if they're just like looking around their lunchrooms, uh, taking suggestions from, the fans. That's kind of funny, like, who thinks of this stuff? rabbit. Let's combine that somehow with a special power that, you know how magicians pull a bunny out of a hat? Well, maybe this, one has a special hat that makes stuff disappear to another dimension, or you know what? That might actually be a good idea, Pokemon people. The magician's rabbit that does that, I'm sure that kind of already exists. Okay, so this is my first look at the Hydrapple, which would be almost like a Hydra, uh, worm-like, snake-like creatures poking out of an apple. That's it. I probably could possibly come up with something else. I'm going to think about it for the day, and then maybe for tomorrow's drawing, I might try a slightly more serious, not really like whatever this is, which is kind of cartoony, which I don't mind. And yeah, so let me know in the comments what you know about this, and maybe I'll get to figure out something. Too bright. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you have a wonderful day. Come back again, see what other kind of things we can come up with, and maybe it'll be part two of this. So, all right. Ciao for now.